This video is all about the hunger drive. The hunger drive is a type of primary drive, meaning it is a biological requirement for survival and exists to maintain homeostasis. The hunger drive is complex, with many factors affecting how much and what we eat, which we will discuss next.
So, hunger as a regulatory drive. Natural selection made us humans and other animals have stronger hunger mechanisms that make us seek out for food. And because in today's world there's an overabundance of food, it's harder to control this hunger drive. And this hunger drive is affected by neurological effects, chemical imbalance, emotional need, and social pressure. And hunger itself is controlled by hormonal, neural, and sensory factors.
Neural and hormonal control of appetite. This regulates the amount of food material in the body at an appropriate level for survival and well-being. The photostat neurons exist in the hypothalamus that contains two classes of neurons: appetite-stimulating neurons that promote all effects associated with increased hunger, and appetite-suppressing neurons that promote all the effects associated with decreased hunger. Leptin is released into the small intestine to make you feel less hungry, and Y and PYY both exert their effects on other parts of the brain areas through slow-acting neurotransmitters to make you feel less or more hungry.
Problems of obesity. So, natural selection has given us poor abilities to defend against obesity because we originally needed to not lose weight, but now, since we have much easier access to food, it doesn't work the way it's supposed to, and more people are gaining weight. And this epidemic is happening to everyone. So in Western culture, obesity has been more of a product of the environment that we live in, but there's actually a close relationship of obesity and genetics, which we'll get into later. BMI stands for Body Mass Index and is used by the World Health Organization to assess obesity. The score is created by taking your body weight in kilograms and dividing it by your height in meters squared. If the score is over 25, then you're considered overweight. However, there are many issues with the BMI scale because it does not take into account your gender, muscle mass, or age. So someone who has a lot of muscle mass can be considered overweight and unhealthy, even though they have a lot of muscle, which is contributing to their weight.
Genes as a factor to obesity. A person's weight is primarily influenced by their genes and how they respond to their environment. And they also found that children who are adopted weigh more similarly to their biological parents rather than their adoptive parents, which shows that even though they can be living in a different environment, their genes still have a great effect on their weight.
Obesity-promoting genes can have a big impact on whether or not a person gains and maintains excess body weight. But how do these genes promote obesity? Well, they can make an individual more attracted to high-calorie food, and at the same time, it may decrease certain feedback effects that high food intake has on hunger in the hypothalamus, such as feelings of fullness. Lastly, it may also decrease the rate at which the body can burn up excess calories, causing them to remain in the body. But genetics aren't the only factor to consider when looking into obesity. The Pima indigenous people are a great example of how an environment can impact an individual's weight. There are two groups of Pima indigenous people. One group resides in Mexico and mostly eats vegetables and grains, which are low-calorie foods. The second group lives in Arizona and has access to higher calorie foods in comparison. Despite having similar genetics, the Pima people in Mexico tend to be less likely to be overweight in comparison to those in Arizona. To conclude, the hunger drive is a complex system of many factors. When we look into the obesity epidemic that currently exists in America, it's difficult to pin it down on one singular reason. It's important to consider all the things that go into an individual's eating habits before concluding it is one particular reason or another. We hope this presentation was informative.